The great thing about art is that you are creating something that is going to stay there forever. It's very important that everything is perfect. People come to expect a handmade movie. I wanted to test the capabilities of every single craft in movie making. There's not a single thing that means nothing. I thought it's going to be an extraordinary process, and it has been. I wanted the movie to test the capabilities of every single craft in movie making. There are huge sets, huge props, complex wardrobe. I wanted it to feel like an old movie that was made in the heyday of Hollywood. Luscious and beautiful and operatic and all that. And I said, I'm not gonna do VFX on the ship. I want a real ship, because the ship is a character. I want when the creature moves it, I want the creature to move it. So we mounted it on a mechanical gimbal. I didn't want the audience to go, oh, it's digital, because once you introduce that, it's like a license for people not to believe things. All the stunts are real. No digital stunts. When the monster grabs a guy and throws him, he's thrown him. If you do it for real, people have a sense. So we did the ship for real, complete, interior, exterior, everything. And we did it with deep research, and that ship is a huge feat. Hello, I am Guillermo del Toro, and in this case I'm with...
I'm Mike Hill, creature designer.
If you can describe your approach between you and the clay, what are you doing when you sculpt?
I think it, without sounding really cliche, you just had to let it sculpt itself. Mm-hmm. I thought it couldn't look modern in its design, it had to look vintage. It's almost like, let's draw his inner anatomy and put it on his outside. Victor he was experimenting as he was going. You know, he didn't have a clear plan, and he may have moved this jar and then decided it needed to be this jar. Yeah. And then that's where all that beautiful pattern comes from. I wanted it to look like, when you saw him, you go, oh, no, this is man's work. Yeah. It's beauty and imperfection, isn't it?
I think that the key to a character is the eyes.
Yes.
You said, well, he has these eyes that look so moving. The eyes are so expressive. And all those things don't go unnoticed. You know, they can only come from decades of passion. I think that's when we knew we hit the jackpot with Jacob.
I have a missed call from Guillermo del Toro's producer, and I said, creature.
I knew you were a serious man very fast. You carry a mythological size. It's been very, very yin and yang. I think between you and I, there's a creature. The character that we've been talking about, I think the first thing I did was send you books.
You sent me a library.
A library, yeah.
Yeah.
Browse this, read that, think about this.
But also don't. You've been very strong from the start about not making any kind of conscious choice or decision.
But you keep a diary like I do, your own journey through the character.
And the diary has changed a lot.
Yeah, it's very organic. Like the dialogue with you.
Stop, don't touch me.
Getting up with a hand and a fist, and whether you were gonna relinquish or not on that take, we didn't know.
I didn't know.
No.
You know, I don't think Oscar knew either.
No, it's such a beautiful thing when it happens like that.
God. When I read the script, I was like, I need to say that.
Yeah.
I need to put that makeup on. You know, I need to go behind it and speak freely.
The prosthetics should be acting partially. The set should be acting partially. When there's a set like this, that real, that big, you go, oh, I don't have to carry that.
No.
It's already here.
No, it's like that from the moment I get into the makeup trailer in the morning. Mm-hmm. It's the second you walk through that door, and then the hair gets slicked back and the things start to go on. It's like a metamorphosis.
We were talking about the voice. What is it gonna sound like? And we said, well, you have to find it. Is it here or here or here? And then the teeth made the decision.
I put it in, and then everything got thrown.
Yeah. And then you lean on the F and you lean on the S.
Well, and I was freaking out before I'd gotten them. I was doing all these throat chants, and then you put them in, and then he just starts speaking.
Yeah. Victor. I don't think of you as a young person. You have a very, very old way of approaching things. When I met you, I felt, oh, this guy has been acting 40 years. Seeing you right now,
I know.
It's kind of weird.
Hey, how you going? I'm Jacob. Nice to meet you.
I never leave the set. What I find very moving is one of the few other people that doesn't leave the set is you. You're in a corner.
Yeah, muttering away. Yeah, I mean, well, how could you leave this place? Yeah. It's like being trapped in complete freedom. Why would I move? You get this small, brief time.
And you're there.
Exactly.
I think you find people as you go along that renew your vow to what you think is important. I like it. You evolve as a person to say, my biggest strength is my vulnerability. And I think you have that. You're like a living access point.
Every time you look at me and we're on the same page and you give me that look that says, this is real.
Yeah, it is. I thought it was going to be an extraordinary process, and it has been. It's been a pleasure. You find a family, and from now on, if somebody says, what about Toulouse-Lautrec? I go, oh, Jacob can do it. Of all the sets and all the set pieces, a Frankenstein movie, I think the key piece is the lab. That's the one obligatory scene. That's the one scene that people are gonna say, well, how did they do it this time? The motifs, visually, color, everything are in the lab. One of the decisions I made early on was to use very strongly the circle, not only because the tail is a circular tail that starts and ends in a confession with the captain, but also because it symbolizes the sun and the divine. The batteries are also circular. One of the ideas from the beginning was to use overscaled elements to give a sense of the mythical weight of the movie. Behind us is one of the main elements, which is the Medusa. To me, Medusa is a misunderstood monster. And the other thing is the transmutation of something alive into something dead, stone, or something dead into something alive. Those are things that are way important. We use elements in the scale of the lab, the height of the lab. This set, for example, is very important. This is something the curator of the film painstakingly recreated, a chemistry set from Bernie Wrightson drawings. One of the shortcuts of the movie is to utilize acupuncture and electricity in a battery form, the voltaic battery. The way we wanted to shoot in the lab was to shoot with big cranes with a lot of movement, like a concert or a performance. So I knew I was gonna have the cranes sweeping up and down. I wanted to show the surgery with graphic, anatomically correct, but very graphic butchery.
Guillermo, which leg would you like first?
To break a bone and reglue it, or to connect ligaments and tendons is an incredibly messy business, and how frantic it is when the storm finally comes, which for a director is very familiar territory. Every day we say we have to shoot right now or we lose the light. It takes 9 months to build this lab, and they give me 3 hours to light it, 12 takes max to shoot it. This movie, I've been trying to make it since I was a kid. Since my first Super 8s to now, I dreamt of 2 movies that I thought were the same story, Pinocchio and Frankenstein, and how they were connected, and what it is to be human, what it is to be framed in a life by eternity and death, both forces. And I wanted to make it as personal as it can get. I lived with Mary Shelley's creation all of my life. For me, it's the Bible, and the movies weigh very heavily on my soul, but I wanted to make it my own, and it became a story about what it is to become a father after being a son, and how you carry the weight of what was done to you in your soul, and it necessitates a pure soul to break the cycle of horror. Every Frankenstein, like every other movie, speaks about its time, and I think we are approaching a threshold with digital technology, AI, virtual realities, in which we have to question ourselves what it is to be human and what it means to preserve and believe that there are larger pieces at work in the universe than us.
I want to know who I am.
The very first day, we were losing the fog. It was actually much warmer than we were anticipating it would be. And we were out on a frozen lake, which we were like, should we be on this frozen lake? Yeah. The fact that it's so warm out here.
A pickup had sunk into the ice.
I was getting this huge beard on. Then the call came in. We've got fog outside. Let's do young Victor coming out of the cave first.
And you said, we haven't rehearsed. I said, get in there.
Get it, exactly. No one's ready for it. The costume's like, dude, he's like, I gave them all steaks last night. Everyone should have enough energy to do it.
And then originally, Victor was going to have a streak of white hair.
I was like, I don't know, it looks a little bit like Johnny Depp and Sweeney Todd. I ran out, we were about to shoot, and I came up, I was like, look, what do you think? I don't know, I'm not sure if it's right.
There you go.
off. Victor's done. Go out there.
And we're done, and the fog lifted. And that was the first day. So everything was going wrong, and it went right. Cut. Very good. Let's go print and check the gate.
And Guillermo is one of the kindest people that I've ever met. He would invite me to set, and I would sit by his side and see how he directs and how he communicates with his crew, with his DP, and then in between sets he would tell me, you know, why the camera's this angle and that, and that was beautiful.
When you just had your daughter, I was very, very moved by the way your eyes looked when you talked about her.
Seeing the creature for the first time was one of my favorite memories. I was with my daughter at that time, and she just ran straight up to the creature, and there was a curiosity there. There's a childlike innocence in Elizabeth too, and so I kind of took that with me.
The only time I was in my face was when I was asleep. I just wanted to be on the set. Life was the thing that was in the way. The sleep was the problem. Like, the having to go home was the issue. If I could have kept it on, I would have the whole time. There was this family of acrobats in a circus called the Waltz, and they used to do a wire act, and they said, life's on the wire, the rest is waiting. Yeah, and it was six or 7 hours to do the top half, and then anywhere from like 9 to 11 hours to do the whole thing. I think he did like a spell or something. Yeah. He did some magic to make Mexican mushrooms to make the days extend. You are an actor that 1 or 2 takes, that was it. We had uncanny delivery from you. Yeah. So that helps a lot. Being back in Scotland after like 6 weeks of not filming was terrifying. When you came to shoot your final shot, which was on the beach, racing after the explosion, you arrived and you said, oh, I missed it so much, I missed it so much. And then you got all the prosthetics 6 or 7 hours, and you came back and you said, I don't miss it anymore. And then also, Lauston decided to put me in, like, there was this whole beach that was perfect, and he picked the grimiest puddle full of like smut and pebbles and bits of glass. And he's like, just put your face in there. And then it was like one more time with feeling. But then as soon as it started to go on, it was like I was very, very happy to be back in my little cave. We met a couple years before in Guillermo's kitchen. Just a general meeting to say hi. No one had said anything about a film in particular. And then at one point, Guillermo just said, I think you need to be my Victor. I said, I'm going to write it for you. I was like, yeah, okay, cool, okay. We'll see, you know, because it just seemed too much to be able to really believe or to take in. I think he wants me to be in this thing. I don't know, we'll see. You know, I'm not going to think about it too much. Guillermo called me and he asked me if I wanted to be in the movie, and from that point onwards, it was just the most surreal, magical experience. Yes. I like to communicate with cast and crew and all that through books. You got Life in the Nunnery, and we talked. I started writing the part for you, and then you went to convent. I did. I was spending some time with nuns for a little while, which was very helpful. And there's like a quietness to them that I observed. That was really helpful in me understanding Elizabeth. Yeah, about a year in, you had 30 pages or something. The opening and the closing. And we cried. And we cried again. We read them, and we got very emotional. We cried, the ending in particular. I started having method directing. Victor lost his mind a little. So did I. But the beauty of it is the moment when I recognized in pre-production that having the perfect cast and crew and all that, I said, from this moment on, anything that goes wrong is going right. Anything that happens is happening for good. And that allowed me to be a lot more malleable as a person than I normally am. Even in my journal, I had it from the first day that Guillermo seems to prefer takes that have some sort of serendipity or some spontaneity in them, or something that goes wrong. This feeling of like, you're not going to fail. This is bespoke for you. This is you. And so whatever you bring, it's okay. And just arrive and be there, and that is going to be enough.
Victor.
Look at you.
May I introduce the woman I'm to marry, Lady Elizabeth Harlander.
2023, glaube ich, war das bei den Oscars mit Im Westen nichts Neues. Und so ungefähr nach 2/3 der Show bin ich mal kurz auf die Toilette, und auf dem Weg dorthin packt mich plötzlich so eine riesige, so eine Pranke an der Schulter und dreht mich um, und ich krieg richtig Schiss, weiß nicht, was jetzt passiert. Werde umgedreht, und vor mir steht Guillermo del Toro und fragt mich, hey Kid, when are we going to work together? Und ich dachte kurz, jemand hat mir was in den Drink gekippt, weil es natürlich, also schon absurd genug dort zu sein, und dann plötzlich wirst du von diesem Typen so überrascht, der dann sagt, wann wir zusammen arbeiten. Und ich meinte dann, ja, er kann sich gerne bei meiner Agentur melden und er ist Guillermo del Toro, also es liegt nicht an mir zu entscheiden, wann wir zusammen arbeiten. Und dachte dann aber schnell, das ist ja wie oft bei so Preisverleihungen oder Veranstaltungen, es wird viel geredet und zum Schluss kommt dann eh nichts dabei raus. Aber nach 2 Wochen habe ich dann echt einen Anruf von meiner Agentin gekriegt, die meinte, Guillermo del Toro würde gerne mit dir telefonieren. Und dann haben wir telefoniert und ich dachte, okay, jetzt kommt's, weiß nicht, so erste Casting-Besprechungen, wie wir da fortfahren. Und er hat gesagt, ich habe ein Drehbuch, ich schicke dir das und a simple yes or no will do. Und dachte ich mir, okay, ja, und dann machen wir das Casting. Dann habe ich das Drehbuch gelesen, habe gesagt, ich bin natürlich voll dabei. Und dann hat er nur gesagt, great, see you in Toronto. Und ein paar Monate später, naja, es war schon über ein Jahr später, saßen wir dann in Toronto. Und es ging einfach über Persönlichkeit, glaube ich. Und Guillermo hat mir oft erzählt, er castet die Augen der Leute. Und nachdem er meine Augen in dem Westen nichts Neues gesehen hatte, war ihm eigentlich klar, dass er gerne hätte, dass ich diese Figur spiele. Und dann hängt es auch nicht mehr davon ab, wie man jetzt ein Casting macht, sondern er ist sich sehr, sehr sicher. Und er hat ein sehr gutes Menschengespür und muss da nicht mehr lange Castingprozesse durchführen.
Just lower the dummy slowly. All right, let's shoot it. Action.
Ich kann mich erinnern, als ich ihn das erste Mal gesehen habe, ich saß am Set und habe gerade gewartet und dann sehe ich in der Ferne irgendwo im Studio so eine große Gestalt mit Pelz rumlaufen. Dann kommt er plötzlich auf mich zu und während er auf mich zukommt, wird er immer größer und größer und man kann es sich nicht vorstellen, wie das ist, wenn jemand so mit Prosthetics zugepackt ist, weil du erkennst die Person schon, ich kannte ihn ja vorher, aber dann kommt diese Person auf dich zu und es ist wie ein komischer Traum. Also du kannst die Realität mit dem, was... Also es würde Realität und Fiktion so ineinander übergehen. Und die wenigen Momente, die ich in dem Film mit ihm habe, waren ganz herrlich, weil dadurch, dass die Prosthetics so fantastisch gemacht sind und nichts am Computer gemacht worden ist, sondern Jacob saß ja teilweise 10, 11 Stunden in der Maske. Das hat enorm geholfen, nicht nur ihm, sondern auch uns in Interaktion mit ihm. War ganz witzig. Also manchmal sind wir zum Abendessen gegangen, abends, und ich habe ihn angerufen und gefragt, möchtest du mitkommen, wir gehen noch was essen? Und er meinte, nee, ich muss in die Maske gehen. Ich sagte, ja, aber es ist jetzt 10. Ich meine, wir arbeiten morgen. Heute ist frei. Hat er gesagt, nee, ich muss in einer Stunde in die Maske. Was? Wieso? Naja, damit ich morgen in der Früh dann fertig bin. Das heißt, Jacob ist in die Maske gefahren und hat angefangen zu arbeiten, während wir Abendessen gegangen sind. Und am nächsten Morgen um 6 sind wir ans Set gekommen und er war gerade fertig mit der Maske. Und saß die gesamte Zeit, während wir Abendessen waren, irgendwo in einem Trailer und hat sich Plastikteile ankleben lassen. Ich weiß nicht, wie er da durchgegangen ist. Es muss irgendeine Form von Meditation und großer Konzentration gewesen sein. Fantastisch, wie er das gemacht hat.
And action.
Also grundsätzlich wurde alles gebaut. Alles ist gebaut oder on location. Die ganzen Laboratorien, Keller, der Turm, alles war wirklich genauso da, wie man es auch im Film sieht. Das Einzige, was dann vielleicht ergänzt wurde im Computer, sind große Hintergründe, Berge, Wetter, der Himmel, irgendwelche Flüsse. Aber grundsätzlich ist alles so gebaut worden. Und alles andere, also die Schlösser, die Zufahrt zu den Schlössern, Ballräume, das waren alles On-Locations in England und in Schottland. Und die ganzen Studiosachen, die gebauten, haben wir in Toronto gedreht. Es waren ungefähr 4,5 Monate in Toronto und dann nochmal 3 Monate in Schottland und England. In teilweise, also Schlössern, die man sich nicht vorstellen kann. Das ist einfach nur absurd, was es da für Schlösser gibt. Und dort dann in diesen Kostümen vor Ort wirklich drehen zu können, ist natürlich ein Traum für alle Spielenden. Also mein erster Drehtag war, ich glaube, ich habe 2 Wochen gewartet, bevor ich dann endlich meinen ersten Drehtag hatte. Weil bei so großen Produktionen ist es häufig so, dass man auf Standby arbeitet und man sitzt wochenlang rum und weiß nicht, wann man das nächste Mal arbeitet. Und dann kommt eines Tages ein Anruf, morgen ist es soweit. Und dann wird man plötzlich ans Set gefahren. Und mein erster Drehtag war die Szene, in der das Labor zum ersten Mal eingeführt wird, wo sie diesen Rohbau sozusagen zum ersten Mal betreten. Ich war wahnsinnig nervös. Ich hatte wahnsinnig lange an dem Dialekt gearbeitet, um möglichst meinen deutschen Akzent rauszuschaffen und womöglich so eine gewisse Form von RP, so einem leicht snobistischen, britischen draufzuschaffen. Aber auch meine österreichische Note nicht ganz zu verlieren, weil William ja auch in Wien laut Drehbuch ein bisschen Zeit verbracht hat. Und dann kommst du ans Set und möchtest, dass das alles funktioniert. Aber du hast diesen einen Shot jetzt. Und du weißt, es sind hier 400 Leute am Arbeiten. Und sie erwarten jetzt alle, dass du deinen Job auch machst. Das ist ganz schön, macht einen ganz schön nervös. Und mein letzter Drehtag war die Dinner-Szene mit Christoph, mir, Oscar am Tisch, wo die beiden Brüder eigentlich das erste Mal zu sehen sind, wie sie in einen Konflikt geraten und wie sie ihre familiäre Beziehung aus der Vergangenheit auch besprechen. Und das war sehr lustig, weil wir haben diese Szene gedreht und wir essen währenddessen so Pudding. Und der Pudding war sehr, sehr gut und ich kenne das schon von anderen Filmen. Essen während Szenen ist immer ein Horror, weil du isst 4 Portionen und bist dann eigentlich voll und hast aber dann noch 40 Einstellungen und 65 Takes, wo du wieder genau so viel essen musst. Und irgendwann konnte ich einfach nicht mehr und ich habe dann versucht, immer das so zu faken und war voller Pudding. Ich habe dann den ganzen restlichen Tag nichts mehr gegessen. Es war auch Christophs letzter Drehtag. Es war sehr schön, dass wir dann gemeinsam da vom Set nach Hause fahren konnten.
Guillermo's making these concept drawings. Him and his concept teams are doing these like color palettes. And that's a kind of a Bible for everybody. Hair and makeup and set design and myself.
Lars and I went for very theatrical lighting. We said, let's do a single source light, like a window, making it really colorful because we're going to have more colorful costumes and sets.
You know, the ship, everyone was expecting dark navy uniforms. There was a question mark. And Guillermo was very clear, as was Dan, it was always how color was going to read, because what you see to the naked eye is not what you're reading on camera.
I really love the discussions about how to tell the story and how to light the scenes. And, you know, it's just a pleasure to come in here every day and do it. That is amazing when you're working together with a guy like Guillermo because he is so sharp.
If either of us argues anything, we know there's a reason.
We have these great conversations about color palette all the time. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I'm going down on a wild track and you said, oh, no, what about going this way?
Yes.
And you drag me back, and sometimes you do the same and said, should we put a little bit
of that?
Red, and I said, maybe that's going to be too cheesy. It's a very, very respectful.
Oh, with you, it's very effortless.
This is great. It's a good speed there. And of course, going on location is a big different thing comparing to be in the studio, because here everything has changed, as I said. And it's a road movie. We're going from one castle to another castle to another castle. So the pre-lighting and the pre-rigging is a big deal.
And you're coming around that corner.
Clear, quiet.
Looking already back.
I try to be a little bit more on this one, and Guillermo was very open for that, shooting towards the windows one day and shooting away the next day, because we have so huge windows and it's really difficult to control it. So that has been a big help.
But it makes it difficult.
It makes it super difficult, and that's the reason all the light have to be outside.
Very good, very good.
We have a lot of equipment, a lot of machines outside the windows to cover the sun, and that's of course what you can do in big movies, because you have the manpower and the money to control the sun. The biggest challenge is like to figure out how we want to tell the story, but that's a fantastic part of movie making.
The library was really getting the right tone for that, doing all those bookshelves and doing it on a budget and knowing exactly how Guillermo was going to frame it and for Dan to light it and just better for us logistically.
Let me just move that a little bit so I can have the window clean. We are sitting next to each other like 10, 12 hours every day and talk about these small details. And of course, we learn a lot about each other all the time about, you know, which, as we talked about before, are we going too far, are we going too little? The light in here is changing right now. It's coming in and out, and that's like being in the life. It's like life is changing, and the light is changing, and it's beautiful. The movie's getting much more organic, and it feels much more alive, so it's really fantastic.